In case you missed it, here's a Sports Animal Rewind.
There it is. Little MJ. You know what that means? That means it's time to bring in the head coach of the Tennessee men's basketball team. That would be MJ fan, Cuonzo Martin. Coach Martin, Vince Ferrara, Ben Fredrickson. How you doing, Coach?
Vince, how you guys doing?
Good. Did you have a great off season?
Wasn't bad. I usually try to take one day at a time, so it wasn't too bad.
I guess it's not the right term, off season. There's no such thing for you guys, right?
That's true, and especially in college basketball, it's a year-round thing with recruiting. You have just summer camps, and also in the summer you're allowed to work your guys out. So it's never ending for us.
Coach, you guys have been practicing for a couple weeks now. You have the exhibition game coming up on Saturday. Who are some? I know you've probably seen a lot of improvement from a lot of different guys, but who are some guys that maybe when fans go out to the exhibition game on Saturday at 1:00, they might really be impressed by that was with your team last year?
Well, I think all the guys have made improvements. When you start with Jarnell Stokes, I mean, he went from probably around 270, 273. He's 260 pounds now, and you can see when he's moving on the floor, he's more mobile. He's better. He's been the best I've seen him on the defensive side of the ball. He's quick off the dribble and making moves. Jordan McRae's gotten better, and Jordan has a slight frame, but he's gotten stronger. And you can look at him on a scale. He's gotten stronger. His game is better. He's handling the ball better. Really improves his decision making in traffic and pressure situations because he's better equipped to take hits. I think Josh has been our most consistent three-point shooter as far as percentage is concerned in practice. Now we just got to get him to carry that over in game situations. Armani is probably our best cutter, slash into the rim. Probably the hardest playing player right now, Armani Moore. Even though guys compete, I think he plays extremely hard in how he cuts and how he moves. So returning guys, those are the guys I think that are really doing it at a high level.
Coach, what about the newcomers? I know you had good things to say about Robert Hubbs after his first scrimmage. To me, watching him, I've gotten a chance to see him practice a couple of times. He looks like a guy who just is very comfortable at this level. What have you seen? What are your first impressions of him?
Well, the thing about Robert, he has a good pace to his game, a good feel, has a tremendous build for a high school guy that's a two-guard at that size, at 6'6", probably 205 pounds. Great athlete. He's a fluid basketball player. He's really improving. I think the biggest keys with Robert coming out of high school, he's one of the best athletes, runners and jumpers. He can shoot three-point shots, but I think the key with him and the growth for him was the in-between game, the ball handling, the 1 or 2 dribble, pull up in the lane, and making decisions at 15 and 17-foot areas. So we spent a lot of time between the summertime up until now getting him better in that area because around the rim and the three-point shot, he was solid. So those areas he's getting better at, but he's a guy that loves to work on his game. Great kid as well as Darius Thompson, A.J. Davis, 3 really good freshmen from the standpoint of their approach, their ability to listen, to learn. But they were raised by great parents. They had good high school coaches. So those guys, it makes your job a lot easier. But their growth, they're still freshmen. It's one day at a time. They'll have ups and downs. But the key for them, they have veteran guys around them.
Tell us about Jerron Mayman. How important is having him out there? And he seems like he stepped right back into that role as the energizer, the guy who's kind of leading the pace at practices. What is his role, and how important is it for this team to have him back on the court this season?
Well, I think he's doing a good job. And one thing about Jerron, I always had a good feel for the game. He rebounds the basketball, and he's so strong. He's rebounding, boxing guys out without jumping now. Still able to put the ball on the floor, make decisions. The offense can flow through him, but the thing about Jerron returning this year, you have other good pieces around him. Jarnell Stokes is one of the elite guys at his respective position, as well as Jordan McRae. Then you have perimeter shooters around him with Darius Thompson, Antonio Boyd, a guy can make shots. Josh has really improved his shot. Jordan can make shots. So you got guys that can make shots, but now we have to be consistent with it from start to finish. So I think with Jerron, it's not as much pressure to lead a team as opposed to just do what you do in order for the team to be successful.
Cuonzo Martin joining us here on the New Sentinel sports page. Vince Ferrara, Ben Fredrickson here on the show. Coach, you'd mentioned Armani Moore and how he's your most consistent slasher to the basket. What role do you envision in him in terms of positions, in terms of roles with this team?
I think, first of all, if the rule stays consistent, where I think now, because there's always been a hand-checking rule in college, and I remember when I was in college, in 94, 95, the rule was you couldn't really hand check guys. But it was just kind of a call that the referee felt like it was necessary to call. But now they put it in writing that it's an actual foul every time you hand check a guy. So with that being said, with Armani Moore, as strong as he is with his ability to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, it's one of those deals every time he has the ball, try to drive the ball. Just drive the ball, because any contact from the rules is saying it's a foul. And that's the thing about Jerron Maimon, Jordan Stokes, those big physical guys. When they drive in the ball, it's almost impossible to take a charge on guys now with the new block charge rule. So just get to the rim as fast as you can. You got an angle on the guy, go up. And that's the same thing with Armani Moore. Put the ball on the floor, make plays to the rim, and force that referee to make a call.
Coach, what about Antonio? I know that hasn't practiced the past couple of days. I guess what's his status moving forward for Saturday, and also just can you tell us a little about how he's coming to gel with the team after moving here from Memphis?
He's done a good job. He's been out of practice I think 3 days now. We had a day off, but he's questionable for Saturday. And for me, I need to see him practice Thursday and Friday because it's an exhibition game. Even though we don't take it for granted, it gives Darius Thompson an opportunity to play more minutes. If Antonio's not playing, you can put Jordan in some, get Jordan, because he's been doing it in practice. He's been doing a solid job at the point guard position, which he's really our third or fourth option at that position. But Antonio, he's better than I thought he'd be at this point as far as running the point guard position now, because he's always been a slash. He played the point, but he's always a catch and shoot guy, rip and go. Really good three-point shooter as well as advertised from the three-point line, but really pushes the ball, got a pace to his game and pushing. So he forces the wing guys and the big guys to run with him because he pushes the basketball, and I like that about him.
Armani Moore was also held out the last couple of days in practice. Will he go on Saturday?
Yes, yeah, he'll be fine for Saturday unless he tweaked his ankle. Unless something happens again in practice tomorrow, he'll be good to go for Saturday.
Coach, you have a lot of options on this basketball team, and guys that you mentioned a lot of them that have made improvements, plus the new guys that have come in here. How are guys embracing that competition to try to get to one of those spots of considerable playing time?
Well, I think in some cases it's kind of understood who will be starting guys, but guys are still pushing, guys are competing. Not necessarily fighting in practice, fist fights, but guys are really getting after it. So, but I think in some spots it's kind of understood this guy will be starting at that position, and there's nothing wrong with that. But guys are competing. But one thing we've always done in our program, we never have the same starting five every day in practice. We mix it up every other day, so there's always a different five, a different 7 on each team. So everybody plays with everybody, because in game situations you're playing with everybody. So it's just a matter of you knowing your position and what you're doing in games. But we never have the same, this the orange team every day and this the white team. We mix it up every day.
What about the tougher breed? That's something that has been your motto this offseason and going into this season. How have the guys taken to that really reflects what you've gone through in your life as well?
Well, it's something that's always been a part of who I was as a basketball player, and I just felt like this year was probably the best time to reveal it. And it was more so not necessarily on the basketball floor, because we have talented basketball players. I think it was more off the court. Guys approach as young men, doing a great job in the classroom, really pushing themselves, not only just to get a degree, but to be successful and pursuing a career when basketball is all said and done. Those guys are really pushing forward in that department, really competing. And you can see certain guys how they approach from the freshman, sophomore to the junior year, how they really are honing in the classroom. A lot of credit goes to our academic advisor, Fernandez West, and really making those guys understand the importance of that. But it's being on time. It's trusting your teammates. It's having a level of discipline, of toughness involved. Then the commitment part of it. That's what we talk about a lot, the commitment. Just because you're emotional some days, you don't feel like you're attached, you still have a commitment and obligation to this team, and there's certain things that are required every day in order for our team to be successful.
Coach, you mentioned that toughness and, guys still not fist fighting, but going after each other for positions, and that's one of the observations I've had from watching practice, just the level of physicality in there, and your guy gets a bloody nose and comes out, fixes it, steps right back in. I guess, how can you kind of describe, for people who don't get a chance to see it, what an average practice is like for those guys?
Well, the thing that we talk about all the time, and I've always been a player, I try to play extremely hard. I try to play physical without fouling. I never teach anything dirty, anything below the belt, nothing malicious, any way, shape, or form. You play as hard as you can play without being dirty and without fouling. And the one thing I talk to our guys about, when I first took over, we talked to the staff, we got to get to a point where guys are kicking up dust in practice. And And fights when you're competing at a high level, fights take place some way, shape, or form. But then the transition period comes from the standpoint of no more fighting. You don't take it personal. It's just basketball. But you got to be able to compete at a high level. Once practice is over, we talk about it a lot. Once the practice is over, that fight and that argument, whatever took place, once we hit the locker room, it's dead. It doesn't exist anymore. On to the next day. So it's very important because, again, we go back to the commitment that you have to your teammates. In order for Jordan McRae to be the best two-guard that he's trying to be in the SEC, then Robert Hubbs, Josh Richardson, Armani Moore, those guys have to push him every day to the max, to where he gets emotionally taxing and draining for him. He's ready to fight at that point. Then he gets better. But if you don't push him every day, he doesn't get any better. And that goes for everybody. And it's fun to watch Jerron Mayman and Jarnell Stokes go at it. I mean, two of the best, physical guys. I mean, that's a combined, 520-plus pounds going at it. And they really get after it, and they compete at a high level. And again, it's not personal. This is what we need to do in order for this team to be successful.
Coach, last couple things with you. We appreciate your time. You mentioned Jarnell Stokes and losing some weight, and then also how well he's doing defensively. With him being slimmer and trimmer, how can that help his game? What are some of the specific benefits that will come from that, in your opinion?
Well, the things that we talked about, the 15 to 17-foot shot. Now, I don't think at this level that'll be Jarnell's bread and butter, 15, 17-foot jump shots. But it's a shot that he can make. And also, certain times he'll shoot in the game because it's available for him. But the thing I'll tell him, especially with the way the game should be officiated, drive the ball every opportunity you get and get to the free throw line. The biggest key for Jarnell is the free throw line, because if the game is called the way it should be called, the way they're saying we call it, then this guy should be shooting 10-plus free throws a night, and that's the biggest key for him, getting his free throws down. He's shooting with a lot of confidence right now. But a slimmer and trimmer, he's jumping higher, he's moving quicker. He's a better defender now than he was in the previous year and a half when he played. It's just fun to watch him grow. But I think that's Jarnell Stokes. He's making a commitment. He feel like he had a lot of work to get done this summertime. Even though they wanted to go with USA Basketball, he probably felt like he got slighted in some areas. So he had a lot of work to do to get back to the drawing board.
Coach, I wanted to follow up with you about Jarnell. It seems that when he talks about some of that feedback that he got from talking to the guys who would have been evaluating for the draft, it maybe put a little bit of edge in him and in telling him that there are some strides that he needs to make. Have you noticed kind of a change in the way that he's preparing or performing since he got that feedback from the NBA guys last year?
Yes, and I think the biggest key with one thing about Jarnell, he'll put the time into the gym, but the thing about it was more so going to the gym and doing something because I'm in the gym, as opposed to going as hard as I can go. And instead of 3 and 4 workouts, I can only get 2 in a day because I took it to the max. And I think that's the biggest key. But sometimes you have to hear the information because his ultimate goal is to be in the NBA. And even though this is Coach Marty's my college coach, that's where he plan on being. And what happens, Coach can say it. It's almost like mom and dad can say it. But then when Coach says it, okay, it's serious. And the same thing, Coach can say it. Now when the NBA guys say it, okay, I understand now. And that's what happens because he wants to be there. He's a prideful young man, and he'll put the work in to get there.
Is this the best Tennessee team you've had in your time here with the Volunteers?
Oh, yeah, that's safe to say. That's safe to say. I just think, in the previous 2 years, you had good pieces, but not a lot of parts, and then you had to everything had to go right in order for you to have success on certain nights. I think now with the personnel we have, you can have a bad performance and still have enough talent to win the game.
How good can this team be, Coach?
I think you can be as good as any team in this league. I think if you stay healthy, you got a chance to win the conference championship, which is easier said than done. But if you stay healthy, we'll fight to the end for it, and it'll go down the wire if we stay healthy.
First of 2 exhibition games Saturday at Thompson Bowling Arena, 1:00 against Florida Southern. How do you handle the exhibition? You don't really talk about the opponent much. You just worry about you. What can fans expect?
We approach it the same way. We have, Florida Southern. The head coach of Florida Southern, Link Darnold, is my college teammate at Purdue, a great guy, does a tremendous job with this program. We approach it like any other game. We don't take it for granted. We do our same scouting report the night before. We meet as a team. We watch film. We go over our walkthrough and our scouting reports and our game plan. But the only difference now, you'll probably see a lot of guys playing the game. Of course, you want to win the game, but we got to give certain guys an opportunity to show that they can get some minutes in these 2 exhibition games. And once we go to Xavier, it's ball time.
I know you could certainly use the fans this year. You want them out there, and a lot of excitement around Tennessee these days with Butch Jones really firing up the football side of things too. I know that's probably had a positive impact on you guys as well, right?
Oh, it has. Those guys are doing a great job, really competing. We got a big one this Saturday at Mizzou, so we need the fans here and we need them there as well because that's a big one for us. And Butch is doing a tremendous job of getting us where we need to be.